Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Howard Yu. Today, my mission is to share with you the importance of forest conservation and what decision we can make to help our government to make wise decision in forest management and wise usage of land. So I'll do a screen share now. I graduated from NTU, Nanyang Technological University, as a teacher and also did my training both in Singapore and in overseas. And I'm very thankful for the government who have given me a good education. And this is a testimony and certificate of service during my stint in the Shanghai Singapore International School. And just take note of this comment where my principal gave it to me that I take initiatives to make things happen. So I hope that through this sharing, I can also motivate you to take initiatives to make things happen together. So there is this famous quote which says, the great thing in this world is not so much where we stand as in what direction we are moving. So as you know that Singapore has become a drones hub, and this is one excerpt from our former Deputy Prime Minister. He mentioned at the opening of the IES in 2016. So today my focus is to bring our attention to this sector of land, where I'd like to make some initiative together with you to make things happen. So where is this part? This part is actually what I call the Bukit Batok Hillside Park 2. And on Google Map, you can see that this sector is in Singapore and is bounded by a few roads, as you can see that Bukit Batok Avenue 6, Avenue 5, Avenue 9, and I will make a clearer picture as I zoom in. So this part is actually this part where it's shown on a Google map. And this is a satellite map of the area of concern bounded by this yellow rectangle. And back here, you can see this is the red rectangle. I've enlarged the map. So here is a civil service club at Bukit Batok West Avenue 3, Avenue 6, Avenue 9, Avenue 5, and Avenue 2. So this sector is actually bounded. I estimate and I cycle around this track is about 2 kilometers. They're surrounded by a 2 kilometers pavement. And this is a view taken from a HDB block, perhaps on the 20th floor, opposite this lush greenery, as you can see. And there's a drainage system from here. I estimate the elevation at the top here is about 55 to 60 meters from the ground level. And this is another view. You can see these buildings are the condominium at Bukit Gombak. And I'd like to share with you a video extracted from my YouTube channel. Like to give some comment. As you can see that this area in nearby, there's very good private properties. This in the Guilin view. This is one of the condominium. It's called Merida, I think, and in Bukit Gombak. So if this large piece of forest is being cleared for redevelopment, I believe that it will perhaps cause the property price of the surrounding areas to drop, because usually those people who buy these private properties, they really value the lush greenery, as well as the people who are staying in HDB blocks nearby. So this is a concern that I like to address as well. that to urge the government to preserve this piece of large forest for at least 10 to 20 years. Thank you. So that's my YouTube sharing, and let's continue with my slides presentation. So following my photography and also my visit there, I've written this email on the 3rd of June 2022 to our Minister of National Development, as well as to Amy Khor, who is the mayor of this area, and also CC to the relevant people, as well as to our current Deputy Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong. So I hope that through my appeal and through my initiative, I can persuade the government as well as residents to consider preserving this very important piece of forest area. So let me continue my presentation as I showcase you this image here from a HDB block opposite this forested area. So my mission, number one, is to persuade MND to make extra efforts to preserve some of the 50 to 70 years of flora and fauna in this forest. Because I believe that in the past, maybe in 100 years, there were some villages inside. But for the last 50 to 70 years, this part remained untouched. So secondly, to protect this forest from any development for the next 10 to 20 years, as it is an important or essential green lungs for the residents in Bukit Batok West, Bukit Gombak, as well as users of the Bukit Batok NUS Polyclinic. And thirdly, perhaps the Nature Society and NUS can do a feasibility study on the biodiversity in this forest and possible applications to biomedical sciences, especially maybe they could discover some species which may address of the changing or evolving COVID variant. And finally, it's a showcase to MOE using my initiative and also to IPCC, the power of social responsibility. So IPCC is this organization which is called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And this is also one of the views taken from the pavement just below this hill. Marvelous. And I did a temperature taking. This is actually across the road in the forested area. It registers 26.0 degrees Celsius. And once I cross over to the road on the other side, beside the forest, a drop of 1.1 degrees was being observed, 24.9 degrees Celsius. So indeed, this forest is actually acting as a climate control. It cools down the surrounding air. And this is what I mentioned, the Bukit Batok NUS Polyclinic. And this is actually Avenue 3, and this is a forested area. I did the temperature taking next to the polyclinic here, and then I crossed over the road and did a second reading measurement there. So I can see the temperature drops by 1.1 degrees Celsius at a time of about 8:30 a.m. And also I observed this very unique spider with yellow legs. As you can see, this is a very rich biodiversity. I observed it in January 2022, but for the last 6 to 7 months, I haven't seen these spiders. So I wonder whether it has died or being eaten by other organisms in the food chain or food web. So this is another view of this very lush greenery. So I'm concerned that if this forest is being cleared away or being demolished or removed, the residents here will can't enjoy the fresh air. I'm also one of the residents staying here, so I do appreciate the better air quality, higher antioxidant supplied by the forested area here. So if this forest is cleared, number one, we have lesser health benefits. And number two, perhaps the pricing of a property value may drop. So this is the safe entry check-in I did on the 16th Jan at 8:30, as I mentioned. And this part is actually bounded by one sector, is the park connector, PCN. But however, once you turn left, the PCN disappears. Because the PCN is this stretch, it will narrow down to a 1.5 kilometers pavement. So I'd like to share with you some important things mentioned by this person who is the chair of the IPCC in a video which I extracted from the YouTube channel to create more interest for us to understand about rules in climate management. So I do a screen share shortly.
The science is clear. Any delay in concerted global climate action means missing a brief and rapidly closing window to secure a livable future.
This report is a dire warning about the consequences of inaction. It shows that climate change is a grave and mounting threat to our well-being and a healthy planet. Our actions today will shape how people adapt to climate change and how nature responds to increasing climate risks. It recognizes the interdependence of climate, biodiversity, people, and it integrates natural, social, and economic sciences more strongly than earlier IPCC assessments. It emphasizes the urgency of immediate and more ambitious action to address climate risks. Half measures are no longer an option.
IPCC reports provide the most up-to-date science related to climate change for policymakers to inform their decisions on developing climate-related policies. Hundreds of scientists worldwide have volunteered their time and expertise to produce this report. IPCC reports go through an extensive review process by experts and government to achieve the highest quality. This process makes them policy relevant and policy neutral.
Sorry, earlier I forgot to turn on my speaker. So I was mentioning that let us listen to this second expert. So I like the part where he mentioned that make it policy neutral. So this is one important aspect that as educators and as residents, I hope that we can make things happen through our initiative. And let me continue my slide presentation. So I urge students and parents to take a look at this website by the IPCC. So let me continue my presentation. As we have seen from the YouTube video on the IPCC, so you can visit the IPCC website on their reports on various climate changes worldwide. So this is a very informative website. And this was the extract I have extracted earlier. And let's continue our presentation. As you can see on the map here, there is this Dulwich College, Millennium Institute, Princess Elizabeth, and Bukit Batok Secondary School. I urge that the school leaders will encourage the students to do more investigative studies of this forested area, which is about 1 to 1.5 kilometers away from their various schools. Thank you. And this is my greetings to every one of you. Thanks for your kind attention, and let's do our part in protecting our nature and minimize the effects of global warming. So if you like my sharing, do drop a comment in my YouTube video and also share this video to rally more support to protect your forest, to protect your property. So I'm very thankful to the government for their encouragement during the COVID period. So actually I made this card to encourage my former MP, Mr. Lawrence Wong, as I was staying in Choa Chu Kang UT for about 20 years. And he visited my house during one of the Meet the People sessions. Thankful for his effort in making Singapore a beautiful home. And let us join forces to fight COVID together, and let's stand up for Singapore. And I'd like to seek your kind attention to do our part to minimize the effect of global warming through forest protection and also wise land management. So I urge that the government, the residents in Bukit Batok West, as well as the environmental enthusiasts worldwide can support my initiative in urging my government to protect this very beautiful Bukit Batok Hillside Park 2 for our enjoyment and for the future of our generation. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. God bless.